A new school year is just around the corner for students and their families. Dr. Marlin Berry, Superintendent of Rogers Public Schools, joins us live today to talk about how the district is preparing during a global pandemic. Doctor, thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, let's start with the different learning options that Rogers students will have available this upcoming semester. Can you talk about the different options for families?
We've designed two different opportunities for our families, and the first, of course, is going to be face-to-face on-site instruction. Some people are calling that bricks and mortar, but it's the traditional where students come to school. And the second one we designed was to be online, so it's a virtual option for K through 12 students if they want to do that at home and have that instruction through the district. So two options in ours.
Signed up for virtual versus in person.
Correct.
Do you know what percentage of students have signed up for virtual versus in person?
Yes, we have approximately 80% who are going to come face to face, and so therefore 20% that have chosen the virtual right now.
Sure. For those students that do come in person, what will be the face mask policy for students and for staff?
We are requiring a face mask for all students and staff. And so while you're in the classroom, you're going to have that on if we can't safely distance. Now, particularly at the elementary level, we have designed and built in some mask breaks because we think that's important. We don't want to have younger kids in particular have to wear a mask for 6.5 hours a day. So there will be some times that are structured when it's safe to do so that they can maybe release that mask for just a little bit, but otherwise everybody will be required.
Can you give us some examples of how Rogers teachers are innovating and maybe getting creative when it comes to setting up their classrooms for safe in-person learning?
Yeah, unfortunately, one of the things that they had to be creative and make a change in is getting rid of a lot of things in their classrooms. We always love elementary classrooms because they do so many things to make the students comfortable with soft seating and a variety of centers that might be located throughout the room. So we had to strip out most of that so that we could distance our desks more. But at that same time, they've still worked to make their classrooms very inviting, and I think the kids will feel welcome, and it'll feel very comfortable to them coming into that classroom.
I'm sure you've heard from a lot of families over the summer. What are some of the biggest concerns that you've heard from parents, and how are you addressing them?
No doubt there's some apprehension and there's some concern because, again, this COVID-19 is throughout our country, and there are concerns, and we don't want anybody to get sick. So there have been concerns expressed, and mostly it has just been wanting to have questions answered. What's going to happen if a student contracts the disease? What's going to happen if it happens to a teacher? Just all the various scenarios, they want to know what those answers are. So like most districts, we've spent a lot of time putting information on our website and sending out to parents. We've taken all those frequently asked questions and tried to answer those. We have some new videos that have gone up in terms of how to handle specific situations. We had something simple that was a graphic organizer for graphically representing everything that we're going to do in the schools, and it's just a front and back kind of handout that we have for parents. So we've tried to spend time answering as many of those questions as we could.
I'm sure that helps ease the apprehension for sure. We have more questions for you. We'll have those coming up right after this break. And remember, you can keep up to date with everything happening as we head back to school in Rogers or any other district by texting the word school to the number you see on your screen. It's 479-785-5055. Just remember to text that number. Do not call. We will have more questions and answers with Dr. Berry right after this break. Welcome back. We're chatting live with Rogers Superintendent Dr. Marlin Berry this afternoon about the impact of COVID-19 on plans for the new school year. Doctor, I think a lot of people want to know, how did Rogers work to develop its plans for the upcoming school year? Did you collaborate with other districts? Did families and educators get to weigh in? What was that process like?
It's really all of the above. We have people in the district, staff that have those expertise areas that we called upon. We used questions that came in from our parents to help tweak our plans a little bit. The Board of Education was briefed on it and updated to make sure they could support things. But then I want to tell you that around the state, there's been so much cooperation. So every week we've had Zoom meetings with we have a co-op of area superintendents. But then every week as well, I've been on a Zoom meeting with superintendents from across the state. And that goes for about every one of our job roles. People are sharing and saying, well, here's what we're doing. I'll be glad to send you our form and you can look at it. But it's really been a cooperative effort across the state of Arkansas.
That's good to hear. But it seems like each district then still choosing what works for their students and their families, right?
Absolutely, because we want to put the Rogers twist on it. And there are a few things that maybe we are doing differently, either with our staff or how we're handling leave and absences for staff members. But there are several things that would be unique, yes.
Let's talk sanitation. What will the protocols be for the district for both regular cleaning and then if and when someone does get sick within a building?
Yeah, that's one of the big questions, and we've done an awful lot in the district. And again, I'm thankful for staff to step up and put a plan in place and be ready to pull it off when things happen. But let's talk about when kids come. We are bringing kids in on buses, and we're going to sanitize those buses twice a day, completely sprayed down and cleaned. So that'll happen at, let's say, the end of a day after they've run a route. And so they're ready to go the next morning. But even when the bus comes back in the morning, then they'll be sanitized again. So in our schools, when you walk in, you're going to see the hand sanitizers every place so that kids can utilize those. We've spread our desks apart. We're going to have, we ordered shields for each desk. It's a plexiglass 3-sided shield. That will help. Obviously, plenty of wipes and sanitizer in each of the classrooms. We replaced every one of our water fountains in all of our schools so that now it's not the old kind where you put your mouth down on it. It's a bottle refiller. And so again, kids will have a bottle they bring so that they can get their water without being touchless. The other thing that we've done in every one of our schools, we've hired additional staff, and that staff member, all they will do is go around and sanitize all day long. Door handles and panic bars and surfaces, and they'll just make the rounds and just keep going all day so that we continually sanitize. We are tweaking our air just a little bit on our HVAC units, and you have to be careful with that because we don't want to bring too much humidity in, but it's been shown to help if you can bring a little additional outside air in, so that's part of it. We're creating some outside classroom spaces, again, knowing that it's better to be outside and distance so that we have the chance to not only eat lunch outside, but if a teacher wants to take a class out for a period of instruction, they can do that. So just lots of things that we're trying to do to make sure we can try to stay safe.
Yeah, that's great to hear. We have about 30 seconds left, but we would like to ask you just briefly about extracurricular activities and sports. Are there any certain protocols in place to keep student athletes and others safe in those situations?
As with all the protocols, we are following the guidelines and the direction of the state of Arkansas, the governor and the State Department of Education for us and the health department. So we're doing the same thing in terms of extracurricular activities. And those are being done just kind of on a weekly basis almost in terms of what's opening up. But we currently have kids practicing, and again, you go by and the coaches are wearing their masks and the kids are spaced out, and we keep taking it a week at a time to see if it's actually going to come where we'll play some games. But one of the biggest challenges for school districts in Arkansas is how we're going to handle a crowd then to get to watch a game if we get to have it.
Sure.
Still working on some of those.
Well, thank you for your time this afternoon. We appreciate it, and stay safe and healthy into the new school year.